The Washington Wizards winning streak is over, but Tre Johnson tonight proved that he has a real chance to be a star here in D.C.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Alongside the DC sports content creating Savannah Abdul-Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. We are live from Capital One Arena, where the Washington Wizards just fell to the Phoenix Suns 115-101. The short-lived winning streak is finally over, AB, and I say finally kind of facetiously because it was a two-game winning streak, but Tre Johnson, a career-high 24 points, 18 of them in the first half. Tonight was the game where you say that is a star in the making, AB.
I think the tanking fan club was happy tonight. Two-win streak was over. It was fun while it lasted, but tonight it was all about Tre Johnson. 15 early on. He was shooting shots from Arlington, Ben. Finished with 24. This is the Tre Johnson that we were looking forward to going into the season. We saw what he did at Texas, and we knew that his game was going to translate. On a minute restriction as well, Ben, we saw that strategically you play him in the last 5 minutes, and when he was on fire, I was like, let him shoot from anywhere. But again, this is a Suns team that was 5-6 games above 500 going into this game. Competitive game. Dylan Brooks, we all know what kind of crowd he attracts. Devin Booker, a star, getting paid $70 million. I think you put up a good fight, but in the fourth quarter, you saw the talent gap, and we go back to the typical Wizards when we're going into the season saying that this team's going to lose a lot of games, but we're hoping to see that competitive spirit throughout the season.
Absolutely. On today's show, we tell you why Tre Johnson proved tonight he has a real opportunity to be a star here in D.C. In the second segment, we'll give you the more nuanced breakdown of what happened tonight. A bit of a rough night for Alex Sarr. He was not very aggressive, not very assertive. I'll tell you what I saw from him. Tell you some other observations that we saw throughout the game. And then the third segment, we give you an opportunity to let it all out, as always, in the final segment as we read your comments. Real quick before we get into it, I want to give a shout-out to Foster and Ishmael, who I saw today in the crowd. They are daily listeners of the channel. If you're an everyday watcher or listener of the Locked On Wizards podcast, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Ran into them in the crowd. Super nice. Got to meet both of them. Shout out to you guys if you're listening right now. Let's get into it.
Sorry to cut you off, but also some gentleman came up to me and fist bumped me and said he loves the podcast as well. So if you're listening, shout out to you. Thank you.
Also dapped up Will Dawkins earlier today as well. So there was that, general manager of the Wizards. But let's get into Tre Johnson, because Will Dawkins took him at number 6 overall because of the star potential that this guy has. You saw him shoot at a 40% clip from behind the arc in his lone freshman season at Texas, where he was the SEC Freshman of the Year. Tonight, how about a perfect 5 for 5 from behind the arc? AB, this was the game we were waiting for, because Tre Johnson had been up and down because of the injuries, and he's still on a minutes restriction. By the way, we finally got confirmation from that from Brian Keefe in the pregame press conference. Tre Johnson and Alex Sarr both on minutes restrictions, and they both played 25 minutes in this game. So if you were at home yelling at your TV, screaming from your couch saying, oh my God, why is Tre Johnson out of the game right now? That's why he sat out until the 5-minute mark to go in the fourth quarter. And it's unfortunate, because there was a real opportunity for Tre to maybe go for like 30 to 35 points in this game. He was scorching hot. 18 of those points in the first half. He started this game 9 for 10 from the field until finally at one point early on in the third quarter, you saw him miss one of those little turnaround shots. But to go perfect from behind the arc, he didn't force anything either. He was incredible in this game. This is the flash that we were waiting for this guy, because you see the potential the guy has when you just watch him shoot the basketball on a night-in, night-out basis. Even from the opening night of the season against Milwaukee, he goes 4 for 8 from behind the arc. You go, this guy needs to shoot as many threes as possible every single night, because he has that innate ability to get it done from behind the arc. The past couple games, though, we haven't even seen him stretch the floor the way that we expected him to. We actually saw him picking it up, getting 2 feet in the paint, getting to his spots, and operating out of the mid-range. Tonight, with the scouting report, knowing that he can actually effectively score at all 3 levels, we saw him feast from behind the arc. AB, it is super refreshing to see this type of performance from your number 6 overall pick. I told you guys you need to give it time. You need to get Tre Johnson acclimated. You got him finally healthy. I know he's still in the minutes restriction. They don't want him to get re-injured. You're not trying to win games right now. You're not super prioritized with him playing 35 minutes a game right now. He's developing. He's getting better, and I cannot wait for the second half of the season. I think this is the start of some really big performances we're going to see from him throughout the year.
And I thought this type of performance was going to happen post-trade deadline, Ben, when potentially you move on from some of these vets. And tonight, Tre Johnson, he just shows when he's healthy, he can be a problem in the league. And this is something that we're going to start hopefully getting accustomed to as a Wizards fan. We have a star in the making in Tre. And tonight, CJ McCollum, 13 shots. I always talk about how I want less than 15 for CJ because I want a majority of those shots that McCollum takes go to our young guy in Tre Johnson. And tonight, someone had to step up. Alex Sarr, we'll talk about him. He struggled. Kind of looked like rookie year Alex Sarr, where he couldn't get anything going in the paint, which honestly I was looking forward to. Alex Sarr was the guy that I was looking forward to the most tonight to have a big game because the Suns don't have Mark Williams, who's dealing with suspension with the Jose Alvarado altercation that he had a couple nights ago. But going back to Tre, Ben, this is the conversation that when you have a point guard, he's only going to look better. And tonight he was just letting it fly, and we're hoping to see more of him. I want to see him in the three-point competition sometime soon in his career. And again, he was the guy that stepped up, and we're hoping to see more of this throughout the season.
You know, it's funny because, AB, in a game where as a team you shoot 40.6% from three, Tre Johnson obviously is a big reason why, going 5 for 5. You feel like you're probably going to be in a good spot when you shoot 40% from behind the arc, but Phoenix one-upped him a little bit, 42.5% on 40 attempts. We knew that Phoenix had made the most threes in the NBA. They like to shoot the most threes in the NBA. Like maybe them and Boston are the two teams you could say shoot the most threes definitively in the NBA right now. I'd have to double-check the exact stat on that. They were not capping when they talk about how much Phoenix liked to let it go from the outside because they were chucking them up early. They were chucking them up often, and they missed a lot early on in the game, and they got hot. That fourth quarter was bad for Washington. They get outscored 28-22, but you kept it competitive for most of the game, which was great to see. Johnson was a big reason why you were competitive for a large portion of that game. Things got away from you a little bit, but you have these guys playing on minutes restrictions. You didn't have Keyshawn George out there as well tonight. There was a lot to like from this game, and I know some of you were screaming at home when you win 2 games in a row, saying we're winning too much, we need to get back to those tanking ways. Well, you kind of got your wish tonight, I guess. You got it back.
It was funny because in the first quarter, you were talking about how, man, Phoenix is taking a lot of threes, and I was laughing because that's what was happening. The Wizards just looked like they were going to come out competitive after the first quarter, but that fourth quarter really pulled away. And it would have been awesome to beat this Phoenix team considering the fact that you have that pick swap. And I still feel like, Ben, I know you're not high on them, and I am not as well. I still feel like they're not a competitive team in the Western Conference because the Western Conference is stacked. And I just think the Suns, Grayson Allen is solid. Dylan Brooks, solid as well. Devin Booker is a star. But outside of that, you really don't have much. And I was hoping to see Kama Malawash versus Alex Sarr tonight, but you told me he's been getting some playing time with the G League, and we didn't see him much out there. Colin Gillespie, he's a stud. But tonight, going back to some of our young guys, Will Riley, 10 points. I love that. It's just the draft picks. I mean, they were giving contributions one way or another. Jameer Watkins was given the assignment to guard Devin Booker. And Devin Booker, I'm not going to lie, Ben, when it comes to guys that want to get foul calls after SGA, tonight it seems like Devin Booker is right after him. He was coming to the refs after every single missed call, according to him. But Jameer Watkins gave him hell early on, and this is a Jameer Watkins that we saw early on this season given the assignment to guard Donovan Mitchell. So that goes to show how much confidence the coaching staff has in a rookie Jameer Watkins to guard the team's best player. And we're hoping to see more of that in the future. I thought maybe Bilal would have some looks of guarding Devin Booker. We saw that. He was getting right in front of him because we know Devin Booker loves that mid-range shot. But defensively, I love the intensity, Ben. It seems like it's been getting turning the corner when it comes to the teams, the team trying to give more effort, and that's something that we've been begging and dying to see. I do want to see how many points we give up. I know on average early on the season we give 130. Tonight you give up 115. So those are little things that when you add up, that's progress.
I think they're getting a little bit better defensively. The intensity, at least, is there. The effort is there for the most part. Yeah, they didn't defend the 3-ball particularly well in this game, but there's going to be ups and downs for a lot of these young players, and tonight was a down night for Alex Sarr, so I don't want to see any slander toward Alex Sarr considering how good he had been the first 21 games he had played this year. I know he's missed a little bit of time, kind of like load management injury stuff as well. That's been part of the thing. you're seeing a lot of these like load management type of injuries right now. I feel like we're dealing with something similar with Keyshawn George because he's got a left hip flexor strain now, is what they changed it to. I asked Brian Keefe today in the pregame press conference if they had an update on that. They said they did not. So there's that, but at least they did give us the clarification that Johnson and Sarr were on minutes restrictions. I think it was becoming a little bit obvious at this point because how could you have Trey playing as well as he was in some of these games and then not seeing him play much at all down the stretch or a lot in the second half? That was a big reason why. But Trey Johnson showed me something. I am so confident in him going forward. I think tonight was the first of many big nights you will see for this guy in a Washington Wizards uniform. It's crazy to think like that this guy fell to us at 6. I know you and I were super excited about it, and hopefully this is going to materialize into something really special going forward, AB. Alrighty, here on the Locked On Wizards postgame show, when we come back, we'll break down why I think the Wizards' rebounding issues plagued them tonight. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Gametime comes in. The Gametime app gives fans the advantage, making it easy to score amazing tickets. It's fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Gametime app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today and get in on the action. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out the new Everydayer Club. You get access to ad-free audio for Locked On Wizards. You can get compatible broadcasts with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, access to a Discord, all kinds of little perks that you didn't have before for the everyday listeners because we appreciate you that much more. And be sure to check us out at lockedonwizards.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more about the Everydayer Club. Tonight, not a great night for Washington rebounding the basketball. They were out-rebounded 51-43. Alex Sarr, a rough night for him in his 25 minutes. Just took 5 field goal attempts, made one of those. He was a minus 28 in the game. It only finished with 2 rebounds. There's one thing for me about Sarr as a rebounder, which has gotten better here in year number 2, AB. He still has some issues with his hands. I think he missed out on a couple opportunities to grab boards early in the game just because he simply goes up and struggles to catch it sometimes. He's got to work on the hand strength, get better from that aspect, and I think that's going to get better, obviously, as he gets stronger as an NBA player, but that's really what stuck out to me early on in the game is there were some missed opportunities for offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds for Sarr, and there were too many second-chance opportunities in this one for Phoenix.
And you expect a guy, Alex Sarr, who's the tallest guy on the court majority of the nights, to be able to get 8 to 9 rebounds a game. And tonight, the hands were very apparent. He struggled to catch the ball, pick and rolls as well, not just rebounds. And we're hoping that once you get a point guard here, maybe that could help out his ability to catch. But, I mean, it all goes back to, his hands and how he is placed in the paint. But tonight, Ben, I was a little disappointed because, again, there was no Mark Williams, and I thought, hey, you can go out there and feast. Nick Richards and the other center, Iguodaro, I hope that's how you pronounce his name, were doing their best defensively to contain him, limit him. And the Suns tonight, that was probably the game plan. They saw that Alex Sarr is a guy who just came off a 6-block game, and he can be a menace offensively and defensively. And they effectively had a game plan. And I think this is going to be an outlier for Alex. Again, 2 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists off 25 minutes, 2 blocks. So the 2 blocks are still there. Him as a rim protector, Ben. I mean, after Wembanyama, what centers in the NBA would you take over Alex Sarr right now? His ability to defend the rim, even on a night where he's struggling offensively, is just something great to watch.
So now Wembanyama, for whatever reason, isn't part of the qualified players list for block leaders. So Sarr was second on the list today behind Jay Huff from Indiana. So that's interesting because he also is a very good rim protector. But They've asked a lot of Alex Sarr this year for a second-year player, and the big ask of him was to improve and get better at a lot of different aspects of his game, the shot diet being a big part of that. And tonight we didn't really see the same aggressiveness from Alex Sarr that we typically saw, and I kind of noticed early on it just didn't seem like it was going to be there for him in this game. I think typically games where Sarr starts fast are usually the ones where he does the best. So maybe that's something he can also work on as well, where if he does have a slow start, he can find ways himself, or whether it's the coaching staff, they can find ways to make adjustments. Because I noticed in a couple of the games where he starts out slow, he typically doesn't pick it up from there. And I feel like it became a little bit evident to me that it just kind of wasn't his night out there tonight. He's been really, really good in so many games this year, so you can't dog on him too much. He's continued to get better at a lot of things that were weaknesses to his game, so no need to overreact to a little bit more poor of a game here from Alex Sarr tonight, but he definitely didn't help him out in this game. And if you're looking at it from the 30,000-foot view, you're probably a little bit happy that the Wizards actually didn't win this game, because some of y'all were getting uncomfortable because Indiana just keeps on losing games. I don't know how much of this tanking stuff from Adam Silver has played a part in the Wizards being a lot more competitive, but honestly, I feel like the team has turned some form of corner in terms of being a little bit more competitive. I really hope we're past the 30-point blowouts and being an embarrassment, especially on the defensive side going forward, because I can take a loss like this tonight where you have one of your young guys and Tre Johnson go out and give you a career performance. Maybe you would have liked to see some other contributions. Obviously, you didn't have Keyshawn George out there as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult to get behind. But if you're out there giving pretty good effort and keeping it competitive with the team that's a playoff team right now in the West, then I can live with that going forward for the remainder of the season. This year is not about the wins and losses. It's about development, and Tre Johnson showed you great signs of development tonight. And one thing I'll say about the Suns, I was very low on them ahead of the season. I was definitely wrong about the Phoenix Suns. They're much better than I anticipated, so I can admit that I missed the mark on that. I thought they'd be terrible. They're not a terrible team. They're a pretty solid team, and I actually think they'll be a playoff team out there in the West this year.
Safe to say buying out Bradley Beal was a solid move for them. But going back to the Wiz, Ben, Justin Champagnie tonight, my guy, JC, 27 minutes, 11 points, 6 rebounds. He's still going out there and contributing. I love it. And it seemed like he was frustrated because he couldn't get anything going early on, but his finishes that he had amongst the rim was nice to see. Let's talk about Bilal, Ben. What was your thoughts on his performance tonight? Another double-digit point game, 13 aggressive early, but do you think it was the Suns' defense that kind of got to him and limited him?
So he had 7 really early in this game, and I thought maybe we were in for another big night. I remember the first play of the game the Wizards had offensively. They ran a set where Trey came around a dribble handoff, and then he found a cutting Bilal for a slam, and I was like, okay, this is the kind of offense I like to see Bilal play. I like that he was aggressive, he was being physical, but we didn't see as much of that later on in the game, so I'm not entirely sure what happened. I think so much of the intention for me was on Johnson and his minutes that some of the other things I'd have to go back and really watch to see what Coulibaly was up to on every given possession. I feel like he has the opportunity to stack performances and play pretty well offensively within a role that makes sense for him. I know at one point he made a corner 3 early in the game, and let me pull up his stats real quick. So he finished with 13. 2 of 5 from behind the arc, so that's a little bit better. There were a couple open ones that he'd end up making, but I think honestly if you do get 2 shots from the outside to go down for Bilal Coulibaly in a night, that's probably pretty good. That's about what you could ask for. Yeah, you'll definitely take that. But he needs to continue to be more assertive, more aggressive in terms of getting downhill, getting to the basket, and stay active on the offensive glass. I think his improvements offensively have come when he's been active on the offensive glass.
I think him going downhill, and not many guys can stop him, Ben. Genuinely. I mean, if he has that balance and that speed, that first step, very quick, it's just a jump shot. I think right now, I don't want to look at the 3-point percentage, Ben, but it's not that good. And it's gotten worse year by year. And we're hoping to see an improvement from that. But if he can give you those minutes defensively, which he gives every night, offensively, if he gives you 10 to 15 points a game, I think it's very solid. And he can find a role here in Washington once they establish their core here and maybe potentially get a guy like the Bonds in the future or Darren Peterson, whoever it is in the upcoming draft, which we'll talk about. We're going to talk to a draft analyst, according to you, Ben, soon. So that's going to be fun. But tonight, Bub Carrington, Ben, another young guy, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. I think he has turned the corner, Ben, when it comes to his slump that he had early on this year. I mean, the the comments that we saw from this kid were just insane. People willing to give up on him. And I love how he's playing. I think just being patient with his progression as a player, 20 years old, I think he's going to be another solid piece for this franchise moving forward. And again, this is a Suns team that's 6-7, or no, right now they are 6 games above 500. So they're a solid team. And you put up a good fight in the fourth quarter. You saw that talent gap that I always talk about. That's going to happen night in and night out. You can't ask for a better loss, a better tanking loss.
Yeah, I think it was all right going forward, honestly, just what you saw from the guys in terms of effort this game. You already kind of teased it for you. We'll have one of the No Ceilings NBA draft analyst experts on the show tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to break down all kinds of stuff like the 2024 draft class. I think he's got Sarr and Keyshawn in the top 5. We'll hear why, and we'll hear about some of the draft prospects the Wizards should be the most interested in going forward this year, who might be the best fit. When we come back, it's your time to shine. Let it all out. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with the NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games and right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without having to overthink it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m., a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Felt a little bit weird that we had done this edition of the podcast post-game show after 2 wins. We are back to a loss tonight, 115-101. AB, you and I live from Capital One Arena, but it is your time to shine, you the listener. It's time to let it all out. AB, let's go.
Can I just say one thing before we start? There are so many Suns fans in the district. I'm surprised they travel well, Ben. I mean, I would never think that there would be fans from Arizona or a team in Arizona that comes and watch in the district, but that's DC for you. It's a melting pot. Fans all over.
Yeah, it is.
Locked on Law, good friend. Thank you, man. What's up? Tre Johnson. And then he proceeds to say, dog indeed. He also said wasting possession after possession, LOL. I'm assuming he meant in the fourth quarter when they couldn't buy a basket. It was rough. You can allude to the fact that the Suns defense was pretty tight, but the Wizards just couldn't buy a basket, and that's what costed them the game as well. Mr. Bond V2 says, CJ messing it up the last 5 minutes, just trying to make his stats nice. The coach sucks. He also says they let Trey come back the last 5 minutes. That was strategic because we want to make sure that you guys understand that he's on a minute restriction. And Tre Johnson tonight, we're hoping to see more performances like the CJ McCollum guys. I mean, the CJ days, I'm assuming, are going to be numbered. Trade deadline's coming up. Is it February? First week of February, right, Ben?
Yes, sir. You're right about that.
Yeah, gotcha. That's going to be fun. A lot of content there as well. Washed Wiz Kid says management clearly said to chill on the winning because the rotations were terrible tonight. He also says Tre Johnson scores 3 in a row and then gets subbed. I was pretty frustrated by that, but again, guys, the whole minute restriction thing was very apparent. Mr. Bomb V2 also said they did not set up Sarr that much, settled with outside shots that he wasn't making. 100%. I go back to the fact that it looked like rookie year Alex Sarr, where he couldn't get anything going inside and just shot the 3-point ball well. Tonight, and hopefully moving forward, it's an outlier. I think from what we've seen, the 6-block game, a career high, and just his ability to score in the paint, take efficient shots, he's going to be fine. Remember, this kid's 20 years old, and don't be like those fools that wrote him off after a couple summer league games. Branham damn near played 30 minutes tonight. Yeah, no Corey Kispert, no Keyshawn. Malachi Branham's the guy, Ben, that's getting minutes, and who knows his future here in Washington. I mean, how would you assess him, Ben?
I mean, I don't think he's very good, but he's just kind of a body that plays out there, and
a jag, as you would say.
I mean, I don't even know if I want to go that far. Like, I don't have anything personally against Malachi Branham. He played 20 minutes tonight. He probably shouldn't be playing 20 minutes for this team, but that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. That's the way it went tonight. 2 of 4 from the field. He was a -5. You're not going to see a lot of nights where you see Malachi Branham playing this much. I'll say that.
Yep. Mr. Von V2 also says, even though we lost this game, I like the competitive spirit here. 100 Pete. Makoda Tosatu, hopefully I pronounced that right. Tre Johnson got hot in the second quarter. And what does Keith do? Bench him. Yeah. A lot of people were frustrated by that, but you have to think about the idea of the whole minute restriction thing. I was saying that once he misses a shot after that streak, then you bench him, but I'm not the coach. I'm just a dummy that talks about this team. Locked on Loss says, Sarr didn't do much of anything in this game, and Keyshawn still being out hurts 100%, guys. I mean, these two guys are arguably one of your top two players on this roster, so not having them out there, or even when they're out there not being able to produce, it hurts this team. If only Trey played more, he could easily have scored 30-plus points, and I think a 40-point ball game is coming this season, man, preferably in the second half when he'll have more shot attempts and hopefully isn't on a minute restriction.
You might be right about that because the whole point I wanted to make in this is this guy is playing on a 25 minutes restriction, and he scored nearly 25 points, scored 24 points. If you give him free reign when CJ McCollum isn't here anymore and he's not on the minutes restriction, like playing 36 to 38 minutes or something like that a game, you're going to see one of those really, really big nights where he's going to pop, especially if you get one of those teams that just doesn't play defense worth a damn. And there's plenty of those teams out there in the NBA because we were definitely one of those for quite a bit of while. Maybe we're getting a little bit better in that department. Still not quite there defensively. But there's going to be a really big Tre Johnson night at some point soon. And tonight was the first taste of it.
I'm saying you got to give him the Steph Curry treatment, man. Like, everything's a green light. Just do your thing. Let it fly. Locked on Law says, no pick swap with Phoenix. Definitely not this year. I got to look to the trade and see what years in the future do we have that pick swap.
There's some other years.
I think those years potentially if Booker decides to leave. I mean, he just got paid, so that's something that you have to look forward to in the future. Mr. Bombay too says, I'm glad they're playing Riley Branham more for more reps and experience. 100%. Big Griff 5-4 says, hey guys, what's up, man? Locked on Law says, I couldn't get less of a damn who they play until they get this roster settled. It's a fair point. That's a fair point. Rick Matthews, DJ7 says, we've seen the script time and after time. A 15-game losing streak is on the way. Dawkins is desperate to get that number 1 overall pick. I will say one thing. We're going to have to see our boy Rick Burns come back. He was on a short hiatus, Ben, 2 games of not being too negative.
He'll be back. He did come back yesterday. He said, okay, you guys are still bad, though.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably beat the Thunder by 50, and he'll still find a way to scrutinize this team. 99 Brando 99 says, as I was screaming for Trey Johnson, Trey Johnson finally getting the minutes, time, and volume. Yes, guys, this is the number 6 overall pick that we were hyping about going into the season, and just wait, this is just the beginning. Whiskins, the OG, says, good loss, 100%. Whiskid Forever says, second chance shots for Suns killed us, but another competitive game for the Wizards. I like what I see. Second half of the season is going to be interesting. 100%. This is going to be like last season where the first half, not much competitive basketball, didn't win a lot of games, but in the second half, you flip the switch. A lot of the young guys play. I mean, we saw AJ Johnson had a great game against the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm hoping to see more of that.
We're 11 wins away from matching the total from last year.
And I think we're going to have more. I think we're going to definitely get more than 11 down the stretch.
We'll see.
Up and down days from young cores don't scare me, long as development is happening. Yes, sir. Sarr was a disaster tonight. Wiz out rebounded by 23, giving up 20 offensive rebounds. It was tough. The Suns were out there hustling, but we're hoping to see more or of a bounce back performance because they played Milwaukee on Wednesday, right, Ben?
Yep, Milwaukee on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, okay. Whiskin says, you guys are famous now. We love covering this team, and we appreciate all you guys that are out there and listening. Pablo Zoe Life says, good game for the guys after a back-to-back. Competitive. Yep, I'm going to go, guys, always highlight that word, C, competitive. That's what truly matters. WizKids also says, I think Trey hits 40 this year. I think so too. Big Shell 99 says, sorry I'm late to the show. Did anyone solve all the problems yet, or is there room for me to jump in?
There's never a time where all the problems are solved. Trust me, Shell. There's always problems to discuss.
Yeah, especially with this team. Baltimore Get Up says 9537. Been saying he's special. A reason he was a potential top 3 pick in some eyes. Yeah, not many people want to talk about it, but he was a guy that was projected to be top 3 after Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper got picked. Pablo also says trade the new young Ray Allen. Ooh, what do you think about that, Ben?
Somebody also gave me that player comp. I can't remember who it was. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but maybe Tre Johnson can be even more athletic and get to the cup even more. I don't know. He's got good guard skills. He's getting better handling the basketball. But that catch and shoot shot was money tonight for Tre Johnson.
I mean, he pulled it from Arlington. He pulled it from all different types of places on the court.
You're just going to start naming all of the cities locally around here at some point.
Even Woodbridge, where I'm from, man.
Bro, he shot it from Gaithersburg.
Rick Matthews says, hopefully Richard Earl took notes from Devin Booker tonight.
It's Trey's name.
Oh, my God. He pulled a Lions fan on DK Metcalf. That's funny. Oh, my God. Okay, let's see. What other comments before we're out of here, guys? We hit the 30-minute mark. Let me get some new ones. Mo got us. Shout out to you, man. Add one of the big three in the 26th draft plus a vet or two in free agency, and we're cooking next season. We have a good foundation. Trust the process, guys. You see what we're cooking here. Give it some time. Don't give up on the squad, or if we're going to hop on the bandwagon, at least hop on earlier rather than later when this team hopefully lands a guy in AJ DeBonza, Darren Peterson. We just got to see. Rick Matthews also says, forget the Sarr needs a center. Sarr needs to box out and rebound. He's too tall and too athletic. Rebounding is not a weightlifting contest. It's about boxing out, hustling to the ball. And Justin Champagne is the human embodiment of it. He talks about how he wants to impact the game, and his ability to impact the game and rebounding the ball at his size, truly a thing to watch. Big Shot also says, I feel like Ray's athleticism is very underestimated. Haha. Peeps need to go check the tape on him.
Yeah, I mean, we only really caught like the tail end, didn't we?
Yeah.
I can just remember that shot in the corner in the Game 6 of the finals. What grade was I? I was in like 4th grade when that happened. Wow.
Yeah, we were in 4th grade.
Long time ago.
But Ray Allen, I mean, he's second in 3-pointers, right? Yes.
Yeah, no, behind Curry now.
Behind Curry now. Okay. Maybe Tre Johnson. We'll have to see. I think that's it, Ben. But I'm just happy right now. The team is 7-24. I always go back to the fact that 7th win was something that you hit. I think New Year's, a fan told us in a comment. So you're technically ahead schedule compared to last season. And a game like this, where you lose by 14 without your best young player in Keyshawn, or one of your best young players in Keyshawn George, you take out, you can get him.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Competitive loss. You saw star potential tonight from Tre Johnson. Be sure to check out tomorrow's episode. We'll have a special guest, one of the guys from the No Ceilings NBA Locked On podcast, draft analyst experts. They're going to tell you why the Wizards may have just got 2 potentially top 3 players in that 2024 draft class, and who the Wizards should start to target now for the 2026 upcoming draft class. And hey, how about that? We'll ask him about Tre Johnson and see where he had him on his board for last year, see if the Wizards truly did get a steal at 6, because it's starting to seem like it might be that way. All right, everybody, we thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. For your second, check out the Locked On NBA Fantasy Basketball podcast, hosted by Josh Lloyd. DC family, stay in the fight. For my co-host Abdullah Yubi, I'm Ben Strober. We'll talk to you tomorrow.